Hey guys, happy Sunday. Welcome back to Speaking 360. What are we going to be talking about this week then? Well, we're going to dive right into it. We're going to be talking about how you can quickly make an impact every time you speak to any audience on any topic. It literally doesn't matter where you're speaking, who you're speaking to. It could be in the boardroom. It could be on a podcast answering questions as a guest. It could be on a Facebook Live. It could be in front of your team. It could be in front of an audience as a pastor or a paid professional speaker. It doesn't matter. How do you quickly make an impact every single time? Here's a 5-step power communications framework to help you stay on point with your messaging before your audience drifts off and starts thinking about something else. Sound good? Okay, let's look at number one then. What's number one? Well, you got to be clear about what it is you're trying to say. What's your point? You've got to have a point for the audience. This is the benefit for them. I think don't stand up to speak until you have something to say is good advice. Don't stand up to speak until you have something to say. So if you're going to take their time, then you ought to treasure their time by thinking about how you're going to help them in advance. What's the value that you're going to provide to them? So having a clear point. This is the destination that you're trying to take the audience to. So number one, you have to have a clear point. Then number two, information on its own sometimes can be a little bit dull, can't it? So we wanted to bring it to life from your life experiences, from what you've lived out. So how can you make it more interesting? Is there an example of how you learned this point yourself? Is there something that you were doing that perhaps you made a big mistake? You made a complete hash of it. It was a disaster. Audiences love hearing stories like that. So is there something that you did that how you learned it that was painful maybe at the time but led to great growth, and now you're helping other people with it? How can you breathe life into it and make it a little bit more interesting? And stories is a great way to do this, of course, but not stories about you being perfect straight away. How you learned it works much better. Okay, so number one, you've got to have a point. Number two, try and make it interesting. Number three, can you make it enjoyable at all? Can you have a little bit of fun while you're doing this? And if you can't have fun, at least try and lighten up yourself so that it's it's not like the weight of your world. You're not trying to change their life with everything that you say. You're doing your best to make it interesting, to add value to them. You don't take it any more seriously than that. You're taking it seriously in that you're doing your very best you can, but you're not like desperate for their acceptance of your point. It's okay. It's kind of counterintuitive, but if you lighten up a little bit and don't take yourself so seriously, people tend to take you more seriously. So number three, can you make it a little bit more enjoyable? We all love to have fun while we're learning, don't we? We love to laugh while we're learning. So that's number three. Now, number four, this is important. Can you make it shorter? It's probably too long. Whenever you say something for the first time, you probably use 20 more words than you need to. If you're kind of thinking of it off the top of your head as you go, you're putting together your message, it's way, way, way longer than it needs to be. It's too inefficient, so you need to get it down. Good way to do that is just practicing sharing the message, experimenting with different ways of saying things. It's interesting, but just through repetition, if you share your message over and over again, just intuitively you zero in on the key parts and you shave away the irrelevancies and you stick to the bit that the audience really needs to hear. So number four, can you make it shorter? It's too long. This is how you lose the audience. The surest way to lose the audience is because you're using too many words. And so there's this certain amount of goodness, that's the point, but it's diluted by all these words. Les Brown says the best speakers make the fewest words go the furthest. So we want to make it more concentrated, and it takes a little bit of effort to do that. It takes a bit of work. So number four, can you make it shorter? And then number five, don't forget, now make it count. You've gone to all this work. You've gone through thinking about what's your point. You've made it more interesting for your audience so that you can hold their attention. You've made it more enjoyable so they can have fun while they're learning. They can laugh maybe while they're learning. You've made it shorter so that they're not going to drift off and start thinking about something else because they're wondering when it is you're going to get to the point. Now make it count. Ask for the business. If you're speaking to the board, ask them to take your proposal. If you're speaking to your team, ask them to do something. If you're speaking to your audience, ask for their email address. Ask them to take action. Ask them to go to the page and fill out the order form. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, number five, make it count. You've done all this work. It's okay. In fact, this is the last part of the service of being valuable, isn't it? Is telling them how you can help them further. So that's it for this week. 5-step power communication framework to make your communications land with any audience, anytime. Number one, be clear about what it is that you're trying to say. What's the point? What's the value for the audience? Number two, try and make it more interesting. Number three, try and make it a bit more enjoyable or at least lighten up yourself. Number four, make it shorter. It's too long. Almost certainly it's too long. Can you make it a bit more shorter? It'll be more powerful the shorter you make it, and you'll hold the audience's attention better the shorter it is. And number 5, make it count. Ask for the business. Simple. That's it. So if you've enjoyed this message, as always, we'd love it if you like the videos on YouTube. We'd love it if you put comments up and let us know what works or what doesn't work. We'd love it if you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell as well so you get notifications. And we'd love it if you shared the email address for the Sunday email that goes out. Here it is once again, speaking360.com. Have a great Sunday. Happy Halloween if you're going trick-or-treating. I'm going back now to go out with the kids. I'll see you next week if I don't see you before. Thanks, guys. Take care. Lots of love. Bye-bye. God bless.